and we're going to go ahead and get started. And so, John Pyron, the business doctor, I got my co-host here, Alan Woody Reeves with Mouse Calls. Alan, say hi.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here.
So this is going to be a very unique webinar in that Alan's going to be watching the chat window. Definitely want you to put your questions in the chat window. I'm going to definitely stop and pause many times to answer some questions, help you out any way that we can today. The other thing that Alan is going to ask any and all questions, because he's been in business for 24 years, right? You're going into your 25th year in business, right?
Correct.
And so super exciting that he is here, and we're going to have a lot of fun time. Alan's got 24 going on 25 years of business experience. I've got about 31. I've built 7 different companies from scratch. I coach and consult 12 business owners at one time, all the time. So that means I run not only my own company, but 12 different other companies at the same time. People go, oh my God. I go, dude, I love it. I love problems. I love business challenges, and any business that is going to grow is going to have challenges. That's just the nature of the game. And so super excited to share with you the knowledge. Ask any question about business, any challenge that you have between that, that you have in your business right now. But we're going to talk about the fact that kids are back in school. You're back at work. The main holidays are over. We only got 2 more holidays left. And I'm going to lay it out step by step, what you actually need to do between now and the end of the year to hit your goals. And if you haven't looked at your goals, those goals that in December of last year or January that you set down, you go, this is what I want to do this year. This is my year. Some people call them resolutions. Some people call them, goals. Some people call them objectives. But you set down at the end of 2020, going into 2021, you said, man, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get this together. I'm going to accomplish this goal. I'm going to accomplish that goal. And here we are at the end of September. And so when you think about it, where are you at with your goals? Ask yourself that question. Where are you at with your goals right now? The natural human thing is to look at your goals and go, oh man, I didn't do it again this year. Or, you know what, it doesn't really matter if I even try, I'm just not going to hit the goal. And that is the biggest mistake that you can possibly make. It is never over until time runs out. You're only done with your goal when the time runs out on the deadline that you gave yourself, which in this case, we're talking about 2021 goals. So at 11:59 at night, December 31st, and it clicks to midnight, that's when you're done. But until then, you still got a lot of, if you're here or you're watching the recording, the fact that you're watching the recording and that you're here means you're still alive. You still have the ability to hit your goal. And so I'm going to talk about some things today that you can execute on today, that you can put in place this week, next week, so you're going to have the best opportunity to hit your goals. And it's not about hitting the goal. I can't think of the last time, maybe a couple of years ago, that I actually hit a goal that I set. Now, you're like, well, then why are we listening to you? Well, it's because a lot of times if I hit my goal too soon, which I have a couple of clients, they're always seem to be hitting their goals, their annual objective goals in September or October. And we have to look back and I go, dude, we underestimated your potential. We underestimated what you're able to do. We set that goal too low. A proper goal is something that you barely hit and you're stressed out the max to get there, or you just barely miss it. And the bigger your goals, the more chance you're going to have to hit it. And it's not about hitting the goal. It's about the person you become in the process of achieving and pursuing that goal. And so every year I look back since I started being taught this in 2000, October 28th of this year, I will have been in business for 31 years. I've had 4 mentors over that 31-year period of time. And I've built 7 businesses. The first one failed miserably because I hated sales. But Jay Kutchia had taught me one thing. And one thing is this, is like, if you can just get better every single year, you will accomplish amazing things. And I think I was 20 years old, like right before my 21st birthday. And he was a multimillionaire. And he said, if you just focus on getting a little bit better every single year, set big, massive goals, and you strive and you work your tail off to get there, the type of person you're going to become every single year, when you're 30 years old, when you're 40 years old, and now I'm 50, 51, when you hit 50, you're going to look back at who you used to be at 20 years old, and you're going to see who you are at 50, and it is going to be a direct result of 3 things. Number 1, the books you read, or in this case today, I like to listen to audiobooks. That is the best way I read a book now. I finally stopped buying into, I think it was like in my late 40s, I stopped buying into, I got to read, 50 books a year. And because that was the fad. And it's not about 50 books a year. It's about taking 5 books and deep diving into them 10 times. And so it's the books you read, the audios and videos that you watch or listen to, and the people you associate with. He says, John, whether you and I work together long term or not, if you can do those 3 things only, you will live a life of abundance. You will live a life of happiness. When you get to your old age, you won't be looking back going, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. And so I'm going to pour it all in today. I'm going to give you everything today. I'm going to give you so much content today, you're going to go, oh my gosh, where do I begin? And at the end of the time today, I'm going to go into, here's your number 1 priority. Here's how you lay it out step by step. We're going to take pauses all throughout today's webinar and answer your questions. Put your questions in the chat window. Alan's going to monitor the chat window. Alan also, I've asked him purposely, just so you know, he's not trying to irritate me. He's not getting on my nerves. I absolutely asked him personally, interrupt me at any point in this presentation and ask a question that's not being asked, okay? And add your 2 cents into it. So he's not going to be rude by interrupting. We're going to have a lot of fun here today. I've got slated about 9 hours. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. I got slated about 2 hours here, but who knows? It might go 2.5. It might go 3. It depends on what you need. I want to make this super valuable because the thousands of business owners I've worked with, I was having a conversation with a new friend of mine, Ian. He owns a life insurance company this morning, and we belong to an organization called The Tip. It's a national network. And we started having a conversation about the opportunity there and the leads and the referrals and all this stuff. He goes, John, man, the thing that motivates me the most is the people's lives that I'm going to impact in this organization. And when he said that, I was like, my gosh, you're absolutely right. I have never seen a U-Haul behind a hearse. I've never seen one. I've never seen, a big moving truck following the hearse to the graveyard. It just doesn't happen. And so what happens is the people's lives that you impact, and I got back to thinking about the companies I've had. I've had a company that had 45 employees. I've had companies that had lots of employees. And we got into this conversation. I said, as a business owner, which we're all business owners here, when we bring on an employee, we're now responsible for the livelihood of their families. We are now responsible for helping them achieve their personal goals and supplying money for their family, helping them have an impact in their life and making a difference in the world. And I look back at, oh my gosh, I got a client of mine, Stephanie Scheller, 2014, been together 7.5 years. All she wanted to do was replace her paycheck and fire her boss. That was her number 1 goal. And in 3.5 months, we did it. But now I look at well over 1 million people this person has impacted around the world. And I'm thinking the power of one. Our pastor at our church just finished a little mini series, three-part series on the power of one. The power of one person, you being that one person and whose life you're going to impact. And if you execute on what I'm talking about today, I'm going to tell you right now, not only are you going to blow up your business, but you're going to affect your clients' businesses. I want you to teach everything I'm talking about here today to your clients that are business owners, because it will impact their business and impact their employees and create a very, very profitable business. So before I get started, let me share with you a little story. And it centers around my good buddy Abraham Lincoln, the $5 bill. And so this guy named Fred was sitting in a restaurant and with his wife having a beautiful dinner, and all of a sudden he has to go to the restroom. So he gets up, he walks over to the restroom, and as he walks in, he sees the guy Joe standing in front of the men's urinal. Now, if you're a guy, you know what I'm talking about. If you're a lady and the women's restroom is packed, you're like, hey, man, I'm going to go in there. So maybe you've seen one at some point. I don't know, but he's standing in front of the urinal, and he seems to be frustrated because he has managed to drop a $5 bill inside the urinal. And he looks at Fred. He notices Fred's looking at him, and he looks back, and he's like, so he reaches in his pocket. He pulls out a $50 bill, and he tosses it inside the urinal. And Fred looks at him and goes, what are you doing? And he goes, well, come on, man. You don't think I'm going to put my hand in there for $5, do you? I mean, it's kind of a corny story, but it makes a point of what we're talking about today. When your dreams and goals hold a greater priority in your life than the obstacles that come your way, only then will you overcome your obstacles and reach your dreams and goals. It's that simple. What's the urgency? What is the things that you absolutely have to get done by the end of this year? Are they important enough? Maybe they need to be rewritten. Maybe you need to do an exercise I give every single one of my one-on-one clients, which is you're going to write your goals, your top 5 goals in the morning when you wake up. You're going to write them at the end of the day, because at the end of the year, you will have written your goals 700 times. You will have a lot more clarity around those goals. You'll be a lot more motivated on those goals. Some of the goals might go bye-bye. You may realize, yeah, I really don't want that. And the thing I learned about goals is this: it doesn't matter if it impresses your wife, your husband, your significant other, your mother, your father, your children, your friends, your colleagues. It doesn't matter who else it impresses or motivates. If it doesn't motivate you, you're wasting your time. And I'll never forget when Roger Sitzler set me down. He literally said, you know what, John, I am sick and tired of you arguing for your limitations. And if you continue to argue for your limitations, you're going to get to keep them. Do you want to achieve this or not? And I was like, I'm paying this guy. How dare you talk to me this way? And I'm like, yeah, I want to do it, man. And so I went out and I did exactly what he told me to do for a week, and then another week, and I came back to him after 3 weeks, and I go, man, I did it. I did this. I handed out this, and I handed out this tape, and I talked to this person. I was all fired up. I was reading my own press clippings, which is what a lot of people do. And he looks at me and says the one thing, even when I think about it today, it just irks me. He says, you know what? Anybody can do it for a week. Anybody can do it for 2 weeks. Anybody can do it for a month. Anybody can do it for 6 months, John. I'll see where you're at a year from now. And he turned around and he walked away. And just the thought of what the feeling I had at that, how dare you challenge me? But it was the best thing I needed. And so I want to preface what I'm about to say with that story, because I'm going to challenge you today. I'm going to bring it. I'm going to challenge you today. I might get under your skin. If I make you upset and mad, I will have achieved my goal. Because the one thing I know is until you get upset and mad about you not achieving the success and the potential that you know, when you look in that mirror, you know you can do it, but you're letting your fear or circumstances or whatever hold you back. If I can just create that breakthrough that you need to move forward, man, just send me a text message a year from now when you're super duper successful and say, thank you. Thank you for making me upset enough to stop arguing for my limitations. And so with that said, let's talk about the goals for today. So goals for today, we're going to talk about 3 ways to increase your results. There's probably a million ways, but I'm going to talk about 3 ways, because the simpler we can make it, the easier it is going to be for you to have success. Next, I'm going to, like I said, all throughout the webinar today, all throughout this conversation we're going to have today. I'm going to open it up for Q&A. So I want you to start listing all your questions in the chat window. Share the thoughts that you're learning, because I know this. I can read a book. Alan can read a book. Eric can read a book. Allison can read a book. Maggie can read a book. And everybody else on this webinar today can read a book. And every single one of us will have a different perspective. We'll have a different thought. We'll have a different way of digesting the material. And I want you guys to share what your interpretation, what's an aha moment for you in the chat window. The other thing I want to disclaimer before we get into it is we're recording this. So any questions that you have, anything you share about your business, I want to be full disclosure. This is being recorded. This is going to go out to hundreds of thousands of people. And so, when you ask your question, when I bring you on live, I want you to do this. Your name, your business name, okay? Do what Eric Hutton has done here. He put E. Hutton. You should put E.F. Hutton. Remember that commercial, E.F. Hutton, right? When E.F. Hutton speaks, everybody listens, right? Put your web address in there so you can get attention for your business. And so we're going to allow that time for Q&A. Next is we're going to talk about how to finish 21 very, very strong. Because I know this, if you give up on your goals before 11:59 on December 31st, you're going to break that momentum. You're going to set yourself up for failure in 2022. I'm going to teach you a system, some processes I do to finish the year strong. So you go into January 2022 with a lot of momentum. Every year I do this for my clients, and they go into the year with their January already booked out. Okay. And so if that's you, if that's something that you really want to do, this is where you're going to take some notes. I'm going to give you an opportunity to get the recording. I got a really cool app called Otter. It's going to transcribe it so you can go back and copy and paste it. I want you to use the information to succeed and share it with anybody you want to help them achieve their business goals as well. And so at the end, so I want to be full disclosure, at the end, me and Alan are launching a program in January. Okay, we've got some stuff that we're going to help you prepare for the end of the year by the end of this year. So at the end of my presentation today, I'm going to offer an offer for you to work and mentor with Alan and I, because 31, 24, I dropped out of high school. I think that's 55, right? So 55 years of business experience is going to go into this mastermind group. It's going to be limited to 12 people, and you're going to get an opportunity to be the first person to be able to join that, because it's going to get filled by the end of the year. Okay, so I want to be full disclosure ahead of time. That way you're not going, okay, is he going to pitch at some point here? Yeah, I'm going to pitch at the end. Okay, but I want you to be relaxed, digest the content, and don't worry about it at the end. Okay, there's 3 questions people always ask me every time I speak in front of the room, a webinar, any place. Number 1, who is this dude? Number 2, why should I listen to him? And number 3, what's in it for me? Pretty fair questions, right? And so let me answer that by telling you a quick story. When I was 12 years old, my stepfather, who really is my father, he came into my life when I was 10 months old. My real dad just left. I mean, I think I only talked to the guy twice in my entire life. But my stepfather came into my life and he taught me work ethic. The other thing he said to me is, in my family history, you go to work at 12. So, I know you've had a lot of fun time, but you're now going to work and you're going to make your own money, because I'm not buying your shoes anymore. I'm not buying, the special little candy that you want. I'm not going to buy you your own haircut, dude. You're going to make your own money and do it yourself. And I was like, okay, because that's just how he raised me. So he got a hold of this guy named Gary. Gary is the guy with the white hair, obviously. Virginia is his wife. And he owned a company called Dixon Auto Supply in East Oakland, California, 38th Avenue and East 14th Street. Very safe neighborhood. Not really. But he said, hey, my son's 12. It's summertime. I need him to work. I don't want him running around the streets with all the other hoodlums and things like that. I need him to work. So Gary said, yeah, send him down. Came down. Gary got to know me. I swept the parking lots, dusted the shelves. I did anything and everything Gary told me to do. And one of the things that I learned when I reflect back on it, where did my work ethic came is like my dad said, if you're going to do a job, you need to do the job. If I catch you messing around, I'm going to spank your ass. That's what he told me. And so I was just used to, okay, if I'm going to do it, then I'm going to do it. So I dusted the shelves like my life depended upon it. Well, my behind depended upon it. And so I swept washed the cars, did all this stuff. And as he got to know me, he realized my dad was a tow truck driver. My mom was a waitress, very poor. The electricity was constantly getting turned off. I think by the time I was 10 years old, we had already moved 12 times. And so he understood my past, and he had a very poor childhood himself. But now he's a very successful business owner, owned a wonderful home in San Ramon. And he started mentoring me at 12 years old. And he said, hey, you know what? If you work hard, if you keep your nose clean, if you go at every single thing, like it's you own the business yourself. He's the first person to teach me at 12, 13 years old, you don't work for me. You need to work for yourself within my company. And I'm going to teach you how to do that. And so I'm going to be on your butt. But he taught me, hey, it doesn't matter what your parents, the home you're growing up in, where you're at, whether you can eat, whether you're not can eat, you don't have to have that life when you grow up. And from age 12 to age 17 and a half, this guy fed this information into me. So I would get the information from Gary. I found myself wanting to hang out there at the auto parts store versus hanging out with friends. And he taught me all this stuff. When I went home, I got a completely conflicting message. Our family has never graduated from high school. We've always worked in the trades, and my thought, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Now, had he not come in my life, I probably would have done that. And to tell you where I had come from, I ended up getting involved in drugs. I ended up dropping out of high school. I ended up actually stealing money from my mentor here. And on July 21st, 1987 at 12:35 in the afternoon, not that I remember, okay, he sat toe-to-toe with me and he said, hey, what's wrong? And I told him, man, I got a drug problem. He said, do you want some help? And I said, no. I ultimately changed my mind a couple hours later. The dude ended up paying for everything. Gave me the biggest break in my life because he cared and because he was able to speak that truth into my life. And when I got out of that treatment facility in September of 1987, I came back to him and I said, hey, is there anything I can ever do to repay you? He said this. He said, I want you to do exactly what I've always taught you. I want you to go out and succeed. I want you to live a different life. I want you to be super successful. And when you're in a position to help others, that's exactly what I want you to do. That's how you can repay me. And so I look back now and I'm like, that's why I'm so passionate about doing a webinar like this. That's why I'm so passionate about helping each and every single one of you succeed. It's because I came from nothing with zero chance of success. And I built a lot of companies and made a lot of money. And I'm going to teach you exactly how to do that. The next thing is this is the home I lived in East Oakland. I literally was homeless behind this house in July of 1987. But what's interesting is if I fast forward to September 24th, 2010, this just came up as a Facebook memory 11 years ago. I was like, wow, I remember going to this party. They put me in the center of the Sacramento Business Journal because I had built a business during the economic recession, one of the largest economic recessions we've ever had. I went from zero to $1 million with 12 employees, and then I did $1 million again the next year with 6 employees. So I got very smart about profitability and systems and things like that. The economy was going to, it was crap. This used to be the top 100 fastest growing companies in Sacramento. They couldn't even find 50 that year. That's how bad the economy was. And they asked me how I did it. And I will always do this. And if you don't feel this way about your people, then you need to call me. I got the best people on staff. I got to know them, what their personal goals were, everything about them. How can I help them succeed? And I got the heck out of their way. I wanted everybody on my staff to be smarter than me, and the results speak for themselves. How did I get there? This guy right here changed my life. 1996, started working with Dave Vanny. He taught me sales. up to that point, I was scared to death of sales. And it's because of his mentorship. We're still friends today. Man, the dude changed my life. Here's the point I'm trying to make. If you don't have a mentor, you need to get one. I don't care how much money they cost. Okay? Here's the parameters, though. Make sure you can fire them if they're not getting you the result that you want. Alan Reeves and I have been working together for 5.5 years. Every single month I can fire him, and every single month he can fire me. And the one reason I believe, unless you tell me wrong, is we continue to make progress. Okay? And so, you know what? I still have my own mentors. Get a mentor to work with, a coach, a consultant, somebody that will literally help you get there. So, and not all mentors are the same. I have a speaking coach. I have a sales coach. I have a business mentor. I have a personal mentor. I have somebody that my wife and I see for our relationship because we want to have the best relationship. And by the way, I'll give her kudos here, man. 3 years ago today, I met this woman, right? I met this woman and ended up marrying her, I think like 14 months later. And best thing that ever happened to me in my life. Just wanted to let you know. Okay. So get a mentor. Okay. All right. Let's hop into the content. 3 ways to increase your results. Number 1, we have the inner game. It has to do with your mindset. And number 2 is the outer game. It has to do with your systems, your processes, the tactics, the strategies. How do you get there? But the next one is the most important because you can have the best mindset on the planet. I mean, you could be rock solid. You can have the best systems in place, everything running smooth, all your ducks lined up in a nice 1, 2, 3 order. But if you can't get yourself to take action consistently, none of that matters. And it's not about, it's like you said to me, it's like anybody can do it for 2 weeks. Anybody can do it for a month. It's about consistent action over time with the things I'm going to teach you today. So let's talk about the inner game. And when we talk about the inner game, we've got to talk about mindset. And one of the mindsets of a champion is that there's always room to grow. How many of you, and put in the chat window, how many of you would agree with that statement? Put I agree in the chat window. Boom, boom, boom. Yep. 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 Awesome. Me too. How many of you believe that you have potential inside of you to perform at a higher level than the level you've been performing at? Put I do in the chat window. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. Me too. And one of my heroes when it comes to mindset is the great Michael Jordan. And one of the stories that I love the most is when they put together this 1992 Dream Team. I mean, it was the best of the best and unbelievable. They were dominating every single team by an average of 46 points, just wiping them out. And there's one particular day that they're going to play Spain, I believe, the next day. And they're in the practice gym and they're practicing and they're having a good time and they're on sync and everything's they're going to annihilate the team tomorrow. And so they get done with the end of the day and Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Michael Jordan decide, hey, we're going to go out on the town and enjoy the evening. So they all agree. So they all agree to meet in the lobby and they come down there and they're looking for Michael. They can't find Michael. Where's Michael? So they're looking around for Michael and they finally find him in the practice gym still doing jump shots, doing layups, doing all this stuff. Now we're talking the greatest basketball player at the time and probably in the history of basketball in there shooting practice hoops. And they both look at him like, dude, what are you doing? He goes, I got another 15 minutes of practice. I'll be with you guys in a minute. They go, dude, you're the greatest basketball player in the world, man. We're dominating teams. What are you doing? He goes, you know what? I'm not playing for that team tomorrow. I'm not playing against them. I'm not playing against you. I'm playing against me. And I know that if I let up on trying to improve my abilities, my mindset, I'm only as good as my last game. And I was like, boom, what a great lesson. And so another thing that he used to do in his mindset, and this is something I'm going to challenge you to do, is one of the things he used to do all the time after every single year, and I've been doing this consistently for a long time now, is he would go back and he would watch all the film. Now that lets you know this is a long time ago, right? This is before, digital video, before the internet, right? He'd go back and watch film of himself playing basketball. And he'd have a little notepad and he would write down all the little things that he saw in his game that he wanted to improve, that he wanted to get a little better in, that he wanted to eliminate. And so he started making a list. And then once he was done, he would sit down and he would whittle that list down until he found one thing. What's the one thing that I can do that will impact all these other things? And he would find that one thing, and that's all he would focus on in the off season. And so one year it was his left hand. That's all he did the entire off season. He had the trainer, he had the coach, he did every single thing to just master that one thing. The next year was his strength training. And it was that discipline, it was that focus that made Michael Jordan great. Now, that's Michael Jordan. What about you and I? Think about this. Here we are, whatever time of the year you're watching this, where are you at? All year long. Go back and play your game film, your video in your mind, your journal, all the way back to January 1 of this year. Look at the areas of family, faith, friends, finances, your business, your health and fitness. Where are you at? What are the things that you would like to improve? What are the things you would like to change? What are the things you would like to modify? What are the things that you need to get rid of? And come up with your own master list of the things. And you could do this any day of the year. You can do this every month if you want. Just pick the period. I'm going to teach you a strategy I use here in a minute that makes it a system, is go back and look at, okay, what is that one thing? So your first homework assignment is this. Over the next 72 hours, take about an hour of your time, 2 hours, whatever you need, and go back and look at your goals. Go back and look at all the things that you've done this year so far. Because I will tell you this, your very best has gotten you to where you're at. Now, for some of you, that's great. For some of you, you're like, hey, no problem. Today is literally the first day of the rest of your life, and you can change it at any time. But go back and make that list, and I want you to whittle it down and find your one thing. And then I want you to secretly text me, and I'll give you a text number that's just me. Text me your one thing. Text me your one thing. I got a little system that I'll set you up, and it'll remind you, hey, where are you at with this one thing? Where are you at with this one thing? Or find someone that can hold you accountable and say, hey, I want to improve in this area. If you really want to improve, then go and announce it to somebody.
John,
right?
I got one.
Go and announce it to somebody.
I got something
to
jump in on this very topic, and it's timely and it hits that mindset perfectly. I was listening last week to a success podcast. I meant to tell you this story, by the way, because it's very relevant. And I thought it was magnificent. One of the best TV shows of all time was MASH. And in the very early days of MASH, Alan Alda and Wayne Rogers, they were the co-stars. They became very good friends. And one thing that they used to do was apparently they would do their takes, they would do their shots, and they would cut and they would print and they'd be done. I mean, the show is packaged up, packed off, sent to the network for editing. It's done. These guys would stay in the studio or they would stay on set by themselves and recreate those scenes for themselves because they just thought they could get them better. And this is something that other cast members took note of. They're like, you guys don't have to do this. You're not getting paid to do this. You got families, maybe you got whatever. But like, no, we're keeping each other sharp. And after a few years, Wayne Rogers left the show. And the year after he left the show, some people were shocked because he would still show up from time to time. And he would do these scenes with Alan Alda that his replacement was doing because Alan Alda wanted to keep sharp. He thought he could do them better. And this is just something that they did of their own free will, their own volition. And the only motivation they had, it was not financial, it was nothing else. It was just to get better at what they did. And look at the legacy that, I mean, I'm dating myself, but I think that show still holds the record for most people watching the finale. Maybe a Super Bowl. I don't know for sure, but these are two guys making ungodly amounts of money for the time. And all they had to do was go home at night. And they didn't.
Yeah.
They wanted to get better. And it was the same with Jordan.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the question is, what is your one thing? Give you an example. Here's a client of mine. Years ago, I was working with named Deborah Scarpa. She owned a company called Design by Friday. When her and I met in, I believe it was April 2014, they had a speed networking. So in this networking group, everybody got to give away 10 minutes of their time. And she came and we resonated so much that she ended up hiring me. Now, she'd been in business for 22 years at the time. 3,000 really satisfied clients, but her income was stuck at a certain level, and she could not get beyond that. And I'm like, yeah, 3,000 clients, satisfied clients that loved you, that liked you, and you're stuck here? It's like, yeah. Okay, I can help you with that problem. So as we started working together, we went through this exact assignment. And what I found was she had a resistance to sales. She hated sales. Now, she'd been in business 22 years, lots of clients, but they were all organic referrals. And so I started going through a process with her. It took about a month to get through this process. And if you go to my LinkedIn profile, you'll see the quote that she put down. And I'll get back to this slide here in a minute. She says, you know what? What does it say? Our business revenue grew 4 times while working with John. 4 times. What happened? We identified that one thing that was holding her back. And just like Michael Jordan, just like any successful person, we laid out a game plan and she went to work. And we only worked together for 3 months. And at the end of the 3 months, she had an opportunity to join a mastermind group. She came to me and says, I want to work with you, but I want to join this mastermind group. What should I do? I go, join the mastermind group. That's what I would do. And that's one thing I'm always going to tell my client what's in the best interest of them. So she ended up doing that with all this newfound sales skill. And it came back and her revenue had increased like 50 times. And she had a whole staff and employees and she had all this great stuff. And I'm like, why? Because that one thing changed her life forever. And so why do most people don't do the work? Why do most people, they know what they need to go do, but they don't go do it? Well, this picture right here explains why. Okay? What's wrong with this picture? They're going into a gym to get their health and fitness, to work out, right? But instead of taking the stairs in the middle, it's easier to take the escalator. Now, the stairs is going to give them what they need, right? They're going to get a workout going into the workout place. But instead, human nature always seeks the path of least resistance. And I will tell you this, the things that you know you should be doing that you don't want to do are the very things that you should be doing in order to achieve the biggest growth. And so I want to encourage you to take the stairs and achieve what Deborah has talked about here. So that's mindset. Let's talk about the outer game. This has to do with your systems. Now, Clark Broom, back in 1992, so I was 20, 21, 22. So I think I was 22 years old at the time, 22, getting ready to be 23. Taught me this strategy. And it wasn't until I started working with another mentor years later did I actually put a name to this strategy. And it's called baseline strategy. And so I'm going to teach you exactly how to use this strategy. You can use this strategy on your finances. You can use this strategy on the relationships with your kids. You can use this on, your health and fitness. Anything that you want to see an improvement, this strategy works every single time without fail. But since we're talking about business, let's talk about money. Talk about profitability. Because you can tell me, you can impress me all you want by saying, man, I made $1 million last year. Okay, good for you, big boy. How much did you keep? Okay, so pick your number because everybody has a baseline. So you pick what you want to measure is the first step. You want to increase your net profit? You want to increase your top line revenue? Do you want to increase your gross profit? And they're all three different. And if you're a business owner listening to this or down the road watching a recording, you don't know what those three are, then you really need to call me. Okay? Or call Alan or call somebody that has ran a business, get a hold of your CPA. You need to understand what those three things are for sure. Because if you don't, you're not going to make the money that you deserve to make because of all the work that you're putting in. But let's talk about money. And so let's just say your business is doing $10,000 a month. That would be your baseline, the 10,000. Okay, so now we know what the baseline is. We know what we're going to measure. Let's just say you want to lose some weight and you're 25 pounds overweight. And so let's just say, you're supposed to weigh 150 and now you weigh 175. Okay, I'm giving away my own weight here. So it's 175 and I want to get to 150. Well, 175 is the baseline. Okay, but let's not get off track here because now I'm chasing a squirrel here. Let's talk about money. 10,000. So 10,000 is the baseline. What's also included in the baseline is every single thing that you did to achieve the 10,000. Phone calls you made, the new customers that you had, the recurring revenue that you sold, the leads that you generated. I want you to list out every single thing that you did to earn the 10,000. And that's going to give you your baseline. The next step is this. You're going to look at your list and go, what is one thing, not 20 things, what is one thing that I can add over the next month, the next quarter, the next year, that if I continue to do exactly what I did, right? So the first piece is I'm going to continue to do exactly what I did because it's given me a result of 10,000. Now I'm going to add one thing. Maybe it's a new cold call script. Maybe it's a new way of closing. Maybe it's a different type of customer. Maybe it's a new program. One thing that you can add over a certain period of time that will give you a better result. Now, that's adding one thing. Sometimes when you look at your baseline, and this is where most people miss it, is they look at their baseline and they go, boom, 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 boom. That's not working. I'm sure I'm going to make it work this time. I'm sure if I continue to do this, I'm sure that here we are 2 years later. I added this strategy 2 years ago, and I'm sure this time I've learned my lesson. And I want to give you permission to subtract it. I want to give you permission to delete it. If it's not working for you, why would you continue to do it? So sometimes you got to look at your list and you got to subtract something that's holding you back in order to achieve something that you want. Next, maybe you need to modify a strategy. Maybe you need to look at a strategy and you look at it and you go, you know what, if I just make a tweak here, a tweak there, and you get this through mentoring, right? Like I have a client of mine on here, Eric Hutton. It's like we created an entire program, an entire new service offering for his business because most people, when they do Google pay-per-click, when they do, all this stuff with their website and their branding and their advertising, they have no way of measuring it. They have no way of knowing, do I need to modify the ads? Do I need to subtract the ads? Do I need to add the ads? And so what I did is we looked at it and I'm going, you have such an incredible analytical mind. You love to analyze stuff. You love to crunch numbers. You love to crunch data. You just actually love the stuff. And so let's actually take that skill set and create a product offering that you could take to any business owner anywhere in the world, and they will pay you to tell them, is it working or not? And we came up with that program. So sometimes you got to modify or improve what you're doing. Let's talk about adding. And one of the things I want to share with you about my client here, Denise Ponier. We looked at her baseline, and she had been in business, I think at the time, 18 years. Lots of great clients. But she needed to add a new service offering because she only had one service offering. So we chose to add a new service offering. She goes, they will never buy it. They will never buy it. You know? And I said, no, we're going to add it. Well, they said their budget is only $10,000. I go, what is this worth? What is this new product we created worth? She goes, $16,000. They're not going to buy it. They said their budget is $10,000. I said, well, what should they buy? And she said, well, they should buy this. I said, well, then that's what they're going to buy. And so we added the new product offering. We added, here's exactly how you need to present it. And she texted me back, they bought it. I was like, yes, they bought it, because we gave them exactly what they wanted to do. We added that new product to our baseline. We added a new skill set to it on how to present it, how to close it. And guess what? The rest is history. So she goes, what did she say? I'm not going to have you read all this, but she goes, let's see here. John walked me through every step of the way, helped me revise my product offering, work and rework my sales language, wording, blah, 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 blah. As a result, at the end of the meeting with the prospective client, she signed the biggest contract in her company's history. Why? We added one thing to her baseline, created a process around it, the sales skills around it, the presentation skills around it, increased her close. All that stuff was that one thing that we added, and guess what? She has a skill set for the rest of her life. And so when you think about adding something, most people do not have a referral system in place, and I'm going to give you one to add to your business today. You don't have to pay me for it. Just implement it. Because how many of you know you have a choice to add customers? You can make 200-300 cold calls a week, do a cold list. That's one way. You can go and knock on a bunch of doors. That's another thing. You can sit back, do a great job for your customers, and wait for them to give you a referral, which is what most people do. But how many of you have a referral system in place right now? Just put it in the chat window, put yes or no. You have a referral system in place right now. Okay? 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 All right. So whenever I speak and I teach this, here's my next question. Let me define for you what I consider a referral system. Referral system means going into next month, I know exactly how many referrals I'm going to get. I know exactly who they're coming from. I know exactly on what day they're coming to me. With that definition in mind, now how many of you have a referral system in place? And it doesn't matter if I'm speaking in front of 40 people, 400 people, or 4,000 people. Very rarely do I get more than 0.5% of the room that raise their hand. And that's just how it is. We are not taught how to create referral systems, predictable referrals, but I'm going to give you one. So here's the referral system I want to give you. Number one, there's a form that I'm going to share with you. I'm going to give you, you modify it and make it your own. You hand out the form. Number two is you educate your customer, the person you're going to use as your referral partner, on what a good referral is for you. And so here's what it kind of looks like. Going to have a referral form, what a great referral is for you, and a place for them to give you a referral. Next, we want to offer an incentive. What is in it for them to give you a referral? And for me, the reason I have 4 spots on this is it's $25 a referral. So I tell my clients, if you want Mr. Benjamin Franklin here any time of the year, feel free to fill this form out and send me that form. And every one of those people on there that do business with me is going to be $25. If all 4 do, I'm going to send you a crisp $100 bill. The next thing you can do with this is ask for the referral. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that here in a second. The referrals, you want to figure out what your marketing keywords are. Now, here's how you do that. You take your existing clients, the ones you actually like, that you love, that you want more of. So here's how you know. When they call you on your cell phone, when your cell phone rings and their number comes across the phone and you're looking at it and you get excited, that's the one I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the client. When they call you on your cell phone, you're like, oh, man. Voicemail. I want to find out what they want first. Hey, and when I send you the voicemail, Alan, that's not the reason why, by the way. And so it's the ones that you absolutely like, and because we need to figure out what we're going to go to market, what bait we're going to use when we're asking for referrals. So if this person approaches me and this person approaches me, I need to be able to identify that's a referral for me and that's not. If you're like most small business owners, I'm going to take anything and everything. And then you wonder why a year from now, 2 years from now, yeah, you're making money and you're working your tail off, but you don't even like half of your customers. How many? Don't even put in the chat window, but I know I'm resonating with somebody, because that was me in 2015. Now, you were a client of mine, so I'm not talking about you here, Alan.
Well, but to your point though, what are you doing if you ask somebody for referrals, but there's nothing in it for them? All you've just done is put them to work. Maybe they don't have Maybe they don't have time during the day to be thinking that way, or they've got to take time and it's basically a speed bump, because they've got a lot going on. So if they've got to stop their day and just think of somebody and it's an annoyance or an irritation, they're not going to care about the quality of the referral they're sending. They're just going to throw a couple of names at you. It may not be a fit at all. So that it's got to be a bit more personal. It's got to be collaborative, and there has to be something in it for the other party. It's got to be transactional.
Person. You bet. So I'll give you an example, and I'm going to role play this with you, Alan, because you are a client of mine, right? And so let's role play this for these people. That way they can have it, because it works every time. So I'm going to. I'm calling up Alan, and Alan's answering the phone, and go ahead and answer the phone.
Alan.
Hello? Yeah. Hey, Alan. John Tyron. What's up, dude?
Oh, hi, John. What's going on?
What's going on, man? Hey, so I'm doing some stuff in marketing that I'm going to go after more and more clients just like you, because I really enjoy working with you. And I want more clients just like you, and want to know if I can ask you a couple of questions that maybe you can help me out with. And then I want to also talk to you about how I can get you a couple of referrals. You got a couple minutes?
I do for that. If you can get some feet in the door, sure, go for it.
Yeah. So if you were in a position to refer me to a friend or colleague, would you refer me?
Yes, without question.
Okay. Let's just say you're talking to the person that you're going to refer me to. Now, keyword there, notice I'm planting seeds. You're going to refer me to, okay? And let's just say you're talking to the person right now. What would you say about me?
Oh, it's easy. I had, not a reflection on John, but I had severe misgivings getting started with John, because, my business was not at all where I wanted it to be. And we needed all the help we could get at the time. for various and sundry reasons. And I didn't really think that I had the liquidity to engage John out of the gate, but we did it anyway. We took a gamble. And within 6 months, our revenue was up 50%. The problem solved itself in absolutely no time at all. The ROI on having John as part of the team has always been there. Your results may vary. They may be better. I know John has worked with others that have had better results than I have, but I don't know of anyone that has ever fallen flat with John. So without question, you can't argue with math. At the end of the day, you can't argue with math. It worked for us.
Cool. So what I would do, if for the sake of time here, I would be writing all this stuff down. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat it back to you. All right. So you would say this, and this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is there anything else you would add to it?
Your wife is hot too, but you married up.
Awesome. All right. So you do this, and this. My wife's hot. Great. All right. Can I do this? Can I draft this in an email to you? Maybe change a couple keywords for marketing purposes and that sort of thing. Can I send this to you to look over and see if it's a quote I can use in my marketing materials? Would you do that for me? And if you do that for me, I want to take you out to lunch. Okay. I'm going to offer you something in return. Okay. It can be whatever, right? Can you do that for me?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure what you come up with would be fine, but I appreciate you letting me look over it.
Sure. Cool. So now what I got is I got some marketing keywords. Now here's the key. Don't just do it with one customer. The more customers you can do this with in a short period of time, the better. You want to offer something for them in return, because now I could take Alan's quote, I can take Eric's quote, I can take Sean's quote, I can take Stephanie's quote. I'm just naming off first names of my clients. I can take all those quotes and I can put them side by side. And I would encourage you to do this at least a couple of times a year. And you're going to highlight all those keywords. Those become the keywords that you want to use in your marketing. The other thing you have now is you have some testimonials that you can put in your social networks, your website, everything. So when somebody does give you a referral, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that here in a second. When somebody does give you a referral, they're going to go check you out. And you want to have enough evidence on your website, on social networks, on Google to convict you at what you do. And the more of those you have, the better. Like, you can go to my LinkedIn profile right now, and I mean, there's a bunch of content does not get you business. Okay. It's people's interpretation and comments on your content that get you business. There are so many quotes and recommendations on there, because I've done this for many, many years now, that convict me. But I've taken all those keywords in there, and that's the bait that I use. So the other thing is, now I'm going to go into helping my client. So Alan, thank you so much, man, for doing this. Hey, yeah. I want to do something for you. Okay. Because next week I want to come back. I want to take the stuff that you told me today. I'm going to send you an email. I want to be able to use it in my marketing. If you allow me to use your company name, I want to get you some traction. But more importantly, I want to find you a referral between now and next week. Mm-hmm. What new client are you looking for specifically?
Really, anybody from a solopreneur up to a business owner that's got 50 employees. I mean, that it's a wide swath, but anything in between that where they have technology needs, and they all do, I'm wide open for a conversation. Bigger the better.
Okay. Another way to tweak that script is everything you just said, and then I would add at the end, and I've started adding this at the end over the last several months. It works great. Is I go, and you and I have been working together for a while. So you know what you like about me, and I know what I like about you, and you know how I interact. You know me very well. Please only refer. I'm only going to refer somebody to you that I know you're going to like, and then I'll let you do the rest. I'm going to do an email intro. I'm going to call them up. I'm going to talk to them about you, and I'm going to give you that referral on a silver platter. Okay?
That works for me.
So now I'm going to get off the call. I'm going to do exactly what I said, and then I'm going to send it to him. And then next week, I'm going to call you back up with the referral. And I'm going to talk to you about the referral. We're going to talk about the marketing keywords. And then I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, hey, man, you know what? Thank you so much. Do you know of anybody, friend, family, client, past client, anybody that I would like that could benefit from my products or services? Do you know anybody? And he's going to say yes, or he's going to say no. If he says yes, I'm going to say, okay, give me the person's first name, last name. Why do you think they're a good referral for me? And he's going to tell me. And if he says no, then I'm going to send him that referral form I showed you earlier. And I'm going to say, I'm going to send you this form. Alan, here's the key thing. Make the form your own and do it with your own customers. Everything that I've done with you over this last week, do it with your own customers. I'll help you tweak your own script. Now I'm going to help my client create a referral system for them. And I'm going to call Alan back and get referrals for myself. Okay? So it allows you to give. I learned this a long time. The more you give, the more you call up your customers, your friends, your family, your relatives. It's called a power base, and you help them. You're making a deposit into that social, bank account, if you will. Social currency is a real currency. I'm making deposits into the social currency bank account. So when I need to go and make a withdrawal, I have something to withdraw from. Right? Like my wife is a master at this. Like she is just a giver. She's been that way. I think she's born that way. I think it's in her DNA. Like she can write a book on it. But when she started her business recently, it was easy. It was like taking candy. It was like taking candy from a baby. I mean, all she did was she called up all of her friends and said, "Hey, here's what I'm doing." And they're like, oh, you need to talk to this person. You need to talk to this person. You need to talk to this person. Why? Because she has put so much effort in giving all these years and created such a massive bank account socially that now she can take a withdrawal. And so this is a system. It's a process that you do not once, but you do it over and over again. So how often should I do this, John? With your customers, I would do it once a quarter. There is nothing better for client retention than to help your client get a client. Nothing better. Nothing better than to find out what your client needs and help them find a solution for it outside of your own products and services. Because I guarantee you, if you have some of these clients that are bigger than you, if you're in Eric's type of business where you're doing unbelievable work in the area of billboard advertisement, you're competing with everybody and their grandma. Your competitor's calling your client. But if you're doing what I'm talking about here, they're going to get cold calls from your competitors all day long. They're like, hey, man, Eric's taking care of me. Eric's taking care of me. Eric's taking care of me. You're not going to lose them. And so this creates not only a referral system, a way to feed your marketing, a way to get testimonials, a way to increase client retention, and then the magic holy grail that made its big debut in the area of COVID is a thing called affiliate commissions. And so people got locked down. People got laid off. People got, their income got stagnant. They lost clients. But what they found, what a lot of people learned is, hey, man, if I refer business to Alan, if I refer business to Eric, if I refer business to Allison, the only limitation is if I refer business to Maggie's in insurance, so there's like some regulations. She can't be paying me a referral fee, right? But she sure can give me an Amazon gift card, And so if I refer them, I can now have the conversation going, hey, you know what? Would you like more business? Yep. So let's just say I refer you 10 clients a month. How much of a referral commission could you give me? Because I'm going to do it anyways. Now, this works very, very well if you know your client, if you know your existing client and they're a business owner, or even if they're not, maybe they're a consumer, maybe they are a homeowner or whatever, you find what products and services they're going to buy anyways. And then you call them up and you go, hey, if I refer a bunch of business to you consistently and make you some money, would you, what do you have in place? How I got to meet Grant Cardone. This is exactly how I got to meet Grant Cardone. I was representing another sales trainer. I had built an entire six-figure business around his brand, and I was I had a website branded and everything, and he and I had a falling out. And so I called up my buddy Grant Perry, and I go, dude, I've got 25 front of the room talks where I'm going to go and deliver a free sales training, and I was going to pitch this guy's program at the end of the talk, because if I pitched it and they bought it, I got a 50% affiliate commission off of it. And I didn't have to deliver on the work. And now I don't even like the guy anymore, so I can't do that. Who do you know? He said, you should call Grant Cardone. I'm like, who the hell is Grant Cardone? Didn't know. Didn't know he was the #1 sales trainer in the world at the time. Now I'm giving Grant a big endorsement because he's helped me out so much in my business. So I called up Cardone. I go, hey, this is John Pyron. It's Grant. Is Grant in? I didn't know how big his company was. I thought it was just Grant. Right? I didn't know he had 85 salespeople. And he goes, well, let me get you over to Steve Spray. So I kind of go to Steve Spray. I said, dude, here's the deal, man. My buddy Grant Perry speaks highly of you. I don't even know who Grant is. He says great sales training. Here's what I do. I go in and I give these seminar talks, front of the room talks. I was trained by the #1 trainer, Tony Robbins. I know intro, outcomes, chunk ones, all the stuff. And I no longer have a sales training program to sell. Grant says your program's perfect. Do you have an affiliate program? He goes, what's an affiliate program? I go, it's where I sell your stuff and you make money and then you give me a percentage. No, we don't have anything like that. I go, really? I got 25 front of the room talks lined up and I need a product to sell. Okay. Now here's a secret. This is like gold right here. This will make you millions and millions of dollars. If you want to increase your income, get to know your client, find out what else they are buying, and instead of buying it from somebody else, they should buy it from your referral. And that's exactly what I did. I said, you guys should have an affiliate program. Well, how does that work? I go, so I worked with him and then Jared for 2 days, and we created their affiliate program, which is now their licensee program. Okay. Turned into a multi-million dollar business for him. And I went and gave these talks and represented his brand, got to know him. This is 2013. But it's an example that you can contact somebody and go, hey, you want to make more money? I've got a client that needs your product. If I refer you to my client, what's in it for me? And then I teach my client the same thing. Because again, I want retention. So this is a way to do one thing and create multiple rewards from it. Okay. It's one of the keys in business is you look at, okay, how can I deliver one thing and how can I deliver 1 hour of time and get 25 to 30 hours in return? And this is a way to do it. So I've got a plethora of training on this. I've taught this to thousands and thousands of people. I've given this seminar, gosh, man, over 1,000 times in the front of the room. And I'll give you all the resources. So here's how you do it. Text me your name, your full name, and your email address to 916-741-0596. Again, your full name and your email address to 916-741-0596. Now, let me avoid the Canned Spam Act, United States. I'm going to put you on my email list. I'm going to do it. Yeah, you can always opt out, but I want to be full disclosure that I'm going to give you something of value, huge value in return for your name and your email address. Now, why am I telling you this? Because every single one of you can do exactly what I just did. Every single one of you can get to know your customers so well, and you can figure out what can I give them. It's called a magnet. It's called a marketing magnet. It's the top of the sales funnel. So I did an entire webinar on this. Find something that would give a prospect, a client, anybody, so much value that they give you their email address. That's how you create a massive email list. And then you give them a way to make it simple for them to get access to it, and then you deliver value. That's how you increase your visibility and your email list. So those are a couple of systems, the outer game systems that you can implement, and execute on it. If you have any questions at all, I want you to text me at this number or get a hold of me, and I want to help you. Okay? That's the inner game. That's the outer game. Let's talk about it's time to take action. Now we're coming towards the end of the show here. Okay? This is the most important part of this webinar, because anytime I'm in the front of the room, I always end like this. And that is, I want you to play this game with me. And so what level are you playing at? And so if we take a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you're sitting on the couch, you know, eating bonbons, you didn't move from there since this morning, okay? Number 10 is you're on fire, crazy, and we can't slow you down enough to even attend the webinar, let alone take any action on it, because you're just busy and you're super duper successful. What level are you playing at? So what I tell the audience is I say, okay, I'm going to say good afternoon. And I want you to respond to me from an energy level, from a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of a 6. Okay, so I always say good afternoon. They say good afternoon. I go, great, yay, best audience I've had all day. You know, whole audience laughs. And I go, great. Now let's a little bit more energy, a little bit more enthusiasm. I want you to play the level 8. You have permission to smile this time if you want. And the audience always laughs, right? It's the little thing that you do as a speaker. And so good afternoon. And they all say, good afternoon. Oh my God, great. You know? And then I say, okay, let's play at a level 10, highest level possible. And if I'm in an audience, I usually do this when I'm in an audience, I sit down in the front row, I demonstrate what a level 10 is. I jump up, I wave my hands, you know, I go crazy, I clap, I give everybody a high five, and I go, that's exactly what I want you to do at this level. Is everybody ready? Is everybody ready? Is everybody ready? Yeah. What? Good afternoon. The whole audience goes crazy. It's unbelievable. You know? I wish I could say I invented this, but I didn't. I learned it from somebody else. It's like everybody else. There hasn't been a new thought invented in 10,000 years. We just learn from other people. And so the audience goes crazy, and I have them sit down, and I'm going to land the plane here in just a second. And I ask them this question. First, we played to the 6. Then we played to the 10. First a 6, and then a 10. Let me ask you this question. I'm going to ask you the same question if you're on this live webinar or watching the recording. Over the last 90 days, over the last 30 days, over, wherever you are at this part of the year, since the beginning of the year, what level have you been playing at in your business? Now, some of you are, they're like, oh my God, he got me. I need to improve. There are also some of you, you're like, dude, I play at a high level all the time. What's your point? Great. Good for you. Let me ask the question a different way. Over the last 90 days, 30 days, whatever time period you want to look at, in terms of the relationships that are the most important to you, your spouse, your significant other, your children, what level have you been playing at? And every time I'm in the front of the room and I land that point, everybody in the room, I don't care how successful you are, they're invariably, most people in the room, they go, you got me. But also, what about your health and fitness? What about your friends? What about the other areas of your life that you should be working on? What level are you playing at? You see? So the wonderful thing is this. Who gets to decide what level you're playing at? You do, right? So to play at a higher level, you got to get yourself to do two things. Number one, you need to expand your comfort zone. Okay? You should already be outside of your comfort zone. I'm not talking about the big saying is let's get outside of our comfort zone. If you're in business, you should already be outside of your comfort zone. You can't really succeed in business by staying in your comfort zone. You're going to do some things that you don't like to do. So you can make the money to hire somebody to do the things that you don't like to do. But I'm talking about you need to expand your comfort zones. Number two, you need to take some new actions. I've given you a lot of material today, given you a lot of things to think about. What's your one thing? What's your mindset like? How do you expand that? It could be your mindset around generating leads. It could be your mindset around sales. It could be your mindset about relationships. It could be your mindset about being a parent. Whatever it is you want to see an improvement in, it starts with your mindset. Next, you got to have strategies, tactics, and all that other stuff. And you got to implement. I've given you some strategies and tactics today, but now it's time to take some new actions. One of the actions that you can take today is to, call a mentor, hire a mentor. But let me tell you something right now. I don't care what you do off of this webinar. If you don't master this one thing I'm about to share with you, you're going to face a lot of challenges. In the state of Colorado, we have both buffalo and cows, okay? And what's interesting is how these two animals respond to a storm. And if you've been in business for any length of time, you know there is going to be a storm. If you're brand new in business and everything's going great, you're having fun, I got a new client and everything else, and you haven't had a cycle, get ready, baby. The cycle's coming. It's how you react to the storm. And so typically in Colorado, when a storm comes in, it comes from the west and moves towards the east. It comes over the Great Rocky Mountains and then it goes down into the foothills and into the Great Kansas Plains. That's typically how a storm comes into Colorado. And what's interesting is how these two animals respond to that storm. The cow looks at the storm and they're sitting there with their cow buddies and they're chewing their cud and, they're doing all their cow thing, right? And they look and they see the storms coming. Animals are very perceptive. And they look at it and they go, oh my God, a storm's coming. What do we do? Right? And they turn around and they run as fast as they can in the opposite direction of the storm. Now, I don't know if you know this or not. Cows don't run very fast. And so they are running and the storm's catching up and they're getting the rain and the thunder, the lightning. They're just getting pummeled because they're running away from the storm. What's interesting is how the buffalo react to the storm. They look at the storm and they're talking to their buffalo buddies, and they're like, dude, storm, this is cool. Are you ready? You ready? Let's do it. And they charge as fast as they can directly into the storm. Why? Because you got to go through it anyways. You're going to go through it anyways. You could be the cow and run in the opposite direction and just get hammered. And some of you have been avoiding working on your business. You've been avoiding dealing with your sales challenge. You've been avoiding dealing with bookkeeping, accounting, whatever your business challenge is. And you're like, man, if I just ignore it, if I run from it, it'll disappear. And what I want to give you an opportunity today to do is run directly into the storm, experience the pain, experience what you got to go through so you can get to the sun on the other side. That's why buffalo do what they do. So, problems that are procrastinated on are only amplified. Great quote. You need to be the buffalo. And so one of the things that Alan and I had decided to do, because we've worked together now for 5.5 years, I have a high degree of respect for Alan as a business owner. He is a very seasoned business owner. He absolutely loves to help, and he knows what the heck he's doing. And I think he feels the same way about me. We've been together for 5.5 years. And so what we decided is come January 1, we're going to launch a business owners mastermind group. And I'm going to get into what that is right now. We're going to do some group consulting in this group. We're going to create some group accountability. We're going to help you design your one-page business plan. We're going to have a private LinkedIn group so we can create community and culture amongst the business owners that are in this group. We're going to provide 2 monthly check-ins where the group's going to get together twice a month outside of the private LinkedIn group. Every single quarter, we're going to get together for a half a day, and we're going to do a board meeting. We're going to get, depending on the size of the group, we may have to go a day. And every business owner in that group is going to get a hot seat. Every business owner in that group is going to get their time to present on their business, their biggest business challenges, what their numbers are. Everybody's going to sign a non-disclosure agreement, and you're going to be put on a hot seat with your board of directors, the people in your mastermind group. And at the end of the board meeting, we're going to ask this one question. If I own stock in John Pyron's business based off of everything that we've experienced, would I buy more stock, knowing what I know? Would I hold it and give him an opportunity over the next quarter to make those changes and improvements in his business? Then I might buy some stock. Or would I sell it while the getting's good? And so there's going to be a high degree of accountability in this group. And if that's you, if you've been looking for something like this, this could be for you. It's going to be a 6-month minimum commitment. And I've been involved in these groups where we've gone 2, 3, 4 years. And we voted people off the island. Don't care how much money you're paying to be in the group, right? We want to mastermind with people that want to go in a direction. We're going to limit it to 12 people, okay? 12 business owners max, and we're going to do something different. We're going to guarantee it. So if you sign up, first of all, you can't buy anything here today. So let me put your mind at ease. There ain't no money you're going to have to spend here today, because we're going to interview you. We're going to make sure that you're the type of business owner we want in this group. It's going to be a very exclusive business owners group designed for business owners that want to play at a higher level, that want to achieve a higher benefit of success. The benefits that you're going to get are, number one, you're going to get really rock solid business strategy, not only from me, not only from Alan, but the other business owners in the group. Business planning, okay? Better execution on your plan. More importantly, and this is the number one thing my clients tell me, is the accountability. I have a client that just hired me recently, and it's like I didn't even have to go through the process with her. She's like, I'm just going to go because I need somebody to hold me accountable. My biggest problem as a business owner, I got nobody to answer to. And this is the one holy grail right here. You're going to be able to build power partners within this group and get a bunch of referrals. You're going to develop lifetime relationships in this group. And so if you sign up today, and what I mean by that, if you text me today and say, I'm interested in this group, okay? I'm interested in the group. I want to have a serious discussion about being a part of the group. Doesn't mean we're going to let you in. Doesn't mean you even want to be involved, okay? I don't know you. You don't know me. But we're going to assemble a team of 12 people, business owners, and I've ran a lot of these groups over the years, and every single one of these business owners have to grow. They have to expand, not just in their business, in their family, their relationships, every area of their life. When you take on a business owner, you're taking on the whole package. But I want to give you some incentive here. I'm going to give you a personal assessment and debrief. Your behaviors, your motivators, what motivates you, and the competencies that you have, or you get to choose from emotional quotient, your mindset. If you're managing people, if you have a lot of people, you really want to know what that is. And I'm going to debrief you. Okay. Normally I charge $297 for this. Takes about an hour. It takes about 30 minutes to take the assessment, about an hour of my time to help you debrief. Okay. Number 2 is you're going to get a one-on-one strategy session with either myself or with Alan, whichever one of us that you resonate with. I'm pretty sure that you're going to want to do this with Alan. Okay. Because I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. You're going to want to, whatever you want to do, or both of us. I'm going to let you choose that, but you're going to get this chance to spend one-on-one time with either myself or Alan, or both of us at the same time. We're going to break down your big goals. We're going to break down your challenges. We're going to help you get clarity on where you ultimately want to go. And normally we're charging $500 for that. Between now and January, we're going to do a 2-session, 1-page planning workshop exclusively for this group to help you nail down your 1-page plan for next year. Okay? You're going to go into 2022 with that completed and done. Next, you're going to get access to a 12-module sales mastery class that I specifically did for business owners, because most business owners, they left a company, they took clients with them, everything is great, life is good, and all of a sudden a client leaves and they're like, well, how do I get another client? I don't know. And invariably, you have to learn how to sell. It's like my client, Deborah Scarpa and Denise Ponnier. They didn't know how to sell. They've been in business forever, but they had no idea. And so I'm going to give you exactly the same 12 module system that I gave both of them to blow up their business. They have the skill set now for the rest of their life. Next is the 2 referral systems I talked about today, and maybe one other. During our one-on-one session, I'm going to help you specifically customize that referral system to you, because after I do the business assessment, I'm going to know what your strengths are. I'm going to know what your weaknesses are. I'm going to know how to customize that referral system and strategy to you personally so you can execute on it and have the highest degree of success. Normally, I'm charging $9.97 for that. You're going to get 6 months access to TTI, because once you take the assessment, I'm going to give you access, you and all your employees, access to 6 months of TTI training where they're going to take you deep into behaviors and how to communicate with your customers and how to communicate with your employees and how to communicate with your spouse or significant other and how to leverage your motivators and all this advanced training. The companies I run right now, the employees are operating at anywhere from 89 to 93% utilization because they are a team and they understand how to leverage each other's strengths. And that's what this training does right here. Next is I'm going to hook you up with my HR person, and we're going to create a personalized hiring and retention system for your business. Now, the value of all this is $6,479. Okay? And I'm just going to give you that today. And if you're watching the recording, I'm going to do this on the honor system. If you do this on the day that you'll send me the text, your name and phone number, okay? Just going to trust you that you did it. I'm going to give you all these bonuses. Now, how do you apply? I want you to text your name and your phone number to, again, 916-741-0596. Now, ultimately, a question comes down, well, how much is this going to cost, John? How much is this going to cost? How much is this 6-month commitment is going to cost? Well, I mean, clients pay me $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month to work with me one-on-one. You know, you're going to get all of this and be able to work with us for $1,997. And based off of how the conversation goes, we might say, hey, you know what? You can't come out of the pocket with the full amount now? No problem. Let's break it up into 2 or 3 payments that work for you personally. Okay, so we're going to make it as easy as an entry point as well. The reason I didn't post the price on here today, because there ain't nothing to buy here today. Okay? We're going to fill this group with 12 people by Thanksgiving, if not today. Okay, so I want you to execute on this. If you really want to take your game to the next level, if you really want to have that, you need to do what I did. I started off with this mentor. I had my big breakthrough with this mentor. The thing that really helped me out the most, the reason I'm so passionate about this is the impact that these 2 gentlemen had on my life. And I want to do the same for you. So if that's you, if you resonate with me, if you resonate with Alan, go out and research me on the internet. Go out and look me up on Google, YouTube, all this stuff. If you want to play that game at a higher level, I would not hesitate. Because I'll tell you this, whether you buy it today, whether you sign up today, whether you send me a text today or not, you're going to pay either way. Okay? You're going to pay either way. You're either going to pay the money and get the result, or you're going to continue to get the result that you're getting and not grow. And so the time to take action is now. Not next week, not tomorrow, not next month, not someday. Keep in mind, your best effort has gotten you to where you're at. Okay? So the time to take action is now. I hope this has been valuable for you today. Okay? And I want to, before we close, let me go back to this. I want to ask Alan, is there any questions that we need to address before we close?
Yeah, Eric has a question that's actually interesting, and I want to make sure I understand all the nuances of it. But he's asking, do Chamber of Commerce executive officers have conflicts of interest in referring me when I am not part of their chamber? Now, my first initial gut reaction to that is, number one, how are you getting that done by not being a part of the chamber? Why would they refer you if you're not a part of that chamber? Yeah, there would be a conflict of interest if there's somebody else in the chamber doing what you're doing. But maybe there's something, I don't know. Maybe there's something missing in the question.
So that's a good answer. Here's what, remember last year when COVID hit, Alan, right?
Oh,
so
boy.
What I did is I looked at the chambers of commerce and I go, there's going to be a lot of business owners that don't know what to do. They're going to go in complete panic mode.
Yeah.
You know? And so I called up the chamber I was a part of, which was the Lodi Chamber. And I said, let me do a weekly live Zoom training, because everybody was going to Zoom, just to help these business owners. I'll do it for free. Right. And what ended up happening is it went over so well. I got a bunch of new clients out of it just by giving away my time for free and helping these people, that I was able to send those recordings to other chambers of commerce. One of them was in your area. Remember that? The Harpeth Chamber of Commerce?
Very well.
Sent it over to Amy. You made the intro. She said, yes, let's do it. We did a whole series with her chamber. I did it with the Sacramento Chamber. I did it with the Lincoln Chamber. I did it with the Rockland Chamber. I literally called the chambers what executives, because it's a nonprofit, they're called executive directors, right? All their information is freely on the internet. You know, their name, their phone number, their email address, all that stuff, because they're a part of a nonprofit, right? And so you think about, okay, I'm Eric. I do billboard advertisement. I also have this incredible mind around Google pay-per-click and geofencing and all this other stuff. I know how to help business owners achieve success with advertising. Why don't I do this? Why don't I contact the chamber I'm a part of? This is what I would do. I'd contact the chamber I'm a part of and go, hey, can I do a free webinar for your chamber? Now, it is a lot easier doing it for the chamber that you already are a part of and having success there first. Because now when you go to the next chamber, they're all going to want you to join their chamber.
Yeah.
That's just how it's going to be, right? So, but once I have success with my chamber and they're going to promote it, their social media person is going to promote it, you're going to promote it, it's a joint venture. If you go into, I think it's actually on YouTube, if you go and find the webinars I did for those chambers last year, I co-branded it for them. I got their logo. They got their logo. They put their whole marketing team on it. We had lots and lots of people showing up. It gave me free attention to their list, right? Because they had my audience, and I gave them valuable content. And the money, how the money came about was the people in the chamber hired me. You see? But I did what the chamber does for its membership was they provide valuable content, valuable resources for their members. That is the number one charter of a chamber of commerce. And so with you, Eric, nice thing is you and I are working together one-on-one. If this is something that you really want to do, I'll walk you through it step by step, because we'll target your own chamber first. I'll show you how to make the call. I'll role play the script with you. You're going to be rock solid. You're going to get the webinar. You're going to be able to do the webinar. I'll help you, show you how to promote it, all that stuff, and give you that whole system that I used to create that business. Once we have success with that chamber, you get the recording, you get the audio recording. Now, the nice thing about these chambers of commerce people, they all are part of the Chambers of Commerce Association. They know other directors, executive directors of chambers of commerce. That's how I landed all those other chambers. Is I just talked to the executive director of the Lodi Chamber. I said, can I use you as a reference? He said, yeah, absolutely. And so I sent an email to the other executive directors. I said, hey, I just did this series for the Lodi Chamber of Commerce, helped out their membership. It came over very, very well. Here's a quote from the executive director over there, and I would love to do the same for you. Can we set up a 10-minute phone call? Yeah, we did. Well, John, we don't really invite outside speakers, and you really want to do it with people that are a member of the chamber. I go, none of your members are calling you and offering to do this for you. So do I really need to sign up for your chamber to give tremendous amount of value to your membership? Would you like me to make you look like a hero to your membership? In fact, what I'll do for you, Mr. Executive Director or Mrs. Executive Director, I'll promote it in your area and get you a bunch of people that are not part of your chamber. So you can, and then I'll have you do a pitch for the chamber during the middle of my presentation and see if we can get you some more members. Because I know you want more members, right? Yeah. Boom. No problem. How many of those could I have done? I only had to do like 8 or 9. And I was like, man, I had more business than I can handle. You know, COVID didn't affect my business at all as a result. And I helped all the other business owners do the same. And so I hope that answers your question. Very valuable question. Every single business owner that's listening to my voice right now and on the recording, you can do this. Okay, that's what they're there for. Another one is Sacramento small business development centers are in all major cities in the United States. They're funded by the SBA. You just look up SBDC Nashville, SBDC Roseville, SBDC this. They are paid by the Small Business Administration to pay you to come in and do a workshop. Okay? You can even go in there and do it for free. But the reason you want to do that is they have your audience as a captured audience, and you get a platform now that they promote you on. And this is where you need to do webinars, you need to have content, you need to have enough evidence that you actually know what you're doing out there in order to get these speaking engagements. So if that's you, and this is totally off topic, but I've trained lots and lots of speakers on how to give free talks and make a lot of money. The free talks will actually make you more money than the paid for talks. Okay, so I hope that's been valuable. See, any other questions, Alan, before we go?
No, we're good, John. We're clear.
Awesome, awesome. Well, have fun with the content. Like I said, if you have any questions, send me a text. Go to my website, johnpyron.com. You can click on book appointment. There's an appointment book setting there. I'd love to chat with you. If you want to connect with Alan, just go to mousecallsonline.com and connect with Alan that way. And if you want to join the mastermind, highly, highly recommend you get on it quickly, because now, after this webinar, I'm putting my whole marketing team on this. It's going to get filled. It's going to get filled very, very quickly. So jump on it while it's there, because once I get to the 5th member, I'm doubling the price of it. So just a FYI. Go out and make it happen. Have fun today, and I hope it's been valuable for you. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.